Yes, brother, this is Shay. Today the video is about how to stop being artificially aroused by porn and to start enjoying the real thing. So how do you know this is for you? Well, if you have tried to stop watching porn and you found yourself keep going back to it, or if you know that you want to stop watching porn because you feel like it's not taking your life in the direction that you want, that's good for you, then I invite you to stick around. What I will be sharing is why it is difficult for us to stop watching porn, what's going on in our body, and also a tool that I found the most effective on my journey to be able to quit porn. If I had to rank this tool of where I would put it, I'd put it in the top 1 or 2 tools that I learned. So I encourage you to stay here and to get that. And I just want to provide a bit more context that this video is specifically for you if you're experiencing some form of performance anxiety, sexual performance anxiety. And what that means is when it comes to having sex in real life with a person, whether it's your partner or a date, that there's these feelings of, can I get hard for sex, or can I stay hard during sex, or having to picture scenes, images usually from porn in my mind to be able to stay in the zone, right, and reach climax. So if you're experiencing any of these things right now, then this video is for you. I'm going to start straight off with explaining why is it difficult for us to stop watching porn. Now, I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, you would have also done some research and watched other videos around the whole link with dopamine and porn. So I won't go into that in loads of detail here. All I will say is that part of human nature, part of us being a human being, is that we're on this planet to procreate, to make babies, okay? Now, so in our mind, in our lizard brain, the earliest part of our brain, or the oldest part of our brain, that is still hardwired into us, our desire for sex. Now, our brain does not know the difference if we are looking at a screen or if it is somebody there in real life. Our brain doesn't know that difference. So the chemicals that we release in our body in the moment of watching porn or in having sex are similar chemicals, dopamine, but when we watch porn, it is supercharged dopamine. It's dopamine to the point where when we do it over a period of time, or when we watch more and more extreme porn, it becomes impossible to match that level of dopamine when we're one-on-one with a real person. So if you think about porn, there's so much going on the screen. There's not just the porn film that we're watching, there's also all of the different pop-ups around, or all of the other thumbnails that we can go to the other videos. We can get straight into the climax part, right? We don't even have to hang around if we don't want to. And there's any type of porn pretty much that's available instantly, right? So there's all of this stimulation going on in our mind, and our body is literally being flooded with dopamine. And what that does is it creates pathways. It creates these paths in our mind that says, this is good, do more of it, especially when we climax to watching porn, right? Because that release is then wiring into our mind, this is a good thing, we reached the climax stage, I need to do more of this to get that feeling again. So the likelihood is that perhaps you started watching porn from a pretty young age. I think now usually around 11 or 12 is normal, right, to at least start seeing porn. Well, it shouldn't be normal, but that's just a fact of what's happening. And so it's from a pretty young age that we start to create these pathways in our brain, even when we don't really understand what it is. In our body, those same chemicals are being released from that young age. So this is, in short, why it's difficult to stop watching porn, because we've had almost like half a lifetime of watching it, and that level of the amount of the foundations. If you think the foundations of a house, right, they're built first of all to keep the structure in place. They take a little while to build. They can't just be smashed down. So it's really not as easy as saying just stop watching porn. And this can be the advice that's out there, just quit porn. But you will know, if you're here and I share this journey with you, it was difficult to do that. because of what's happening. Now, this doesn't mean that it's impossible. And this is the second point for us to move on to now. What needs to happen to actually be able to do it, to actually stop watching porn? And if you're here, then my gut instinct is that you actually want to do this. You're serious about this. You're not just like, oh, maybe I'll think about stop watching porn. You can see that this is having consequences in your life and you want to be able to do something about it. Perhaps you can also see this is having consequences with your erection quality as well, and with the connection with your partner or with your date. And then there's a whole self-esteem, self-confidence level that comes into it as well. It's on so many different levels that porn can affect us. So what needs to happen? Really, it is the ability to be able to give your body and mind, specifically your mind, time to reset. And you will hear different timelines out there. Is it 30 days? Is it 1 week? Is it 60 days, 90 days, a year? So it's different for everybody, but I'm going to give really at least what we want to be going for to do this properly is 90 days. Okay, 90 days of not watching porn. And I also just want to throw in there that porn, sometimes we think it's just the videos. It's just going onto the sites and watching the videos. But if we're also doing things like scrolling nude pictures or pictures that kind of put us into that same focus zone on Instagram, Twitter, whatever it may be, this also counts, right? And I know that's not easy to hear. For me, it took a long time to be able to understand that because I cut out porn, but I was still looking at things on Instagram and Twitter and trying to convince myself that wasn't. But then I had to be, after a while, real with myself and see, okay, hold on a minute. I'm still creating the same sorts of patterns because it still felt the same when I was looking in those places. So I eventually realized I had to cut it out altogether. So this is the first, this is an important step, right? And I hear you that this is not an easy step. So 90 days, and if we're talking about 90 days, why is that? Because it gives enough time for the brain and what's called the dopamine receptors to be able to reset themselves and to go back to naturally where they should be, right? If we think about porn has created this supercharge, this overload, we've put too much hard work into our dopamine receptors and we've damaged them. And it means that we have to give them time to heal and recover. So just like if it was a child, that had hurt themselves or a parent that had hurt themselves, we have to give our bodies time to heal and recover. And we would be saying to a kid or a parent, rest, have water, I'll make food for you, recover your body. And it's really important that we take this advice for ourselves as well, to have that break, that window period of 90 days to be able to recover and let our body heal and get back to where it was. So that's the first thing. But the second bit is, how do we actually do that? Okay, because again, it's not as easy as saying just stop watching porn for 90 days and then, I'm just going to be able to do that and I'll be able to start having sex and everything's fine. No, we have to realize that it's more of a challenge because there's going to be temptations. There's going to be triggers, whether it's seeing somebody on the street or in an environment, things that are challenging for us that make our mind want to go there. So that's part of it. There's also going to be the other part of it where our brain is saying, hey, hold on a minute, what the fuck's going on here? We were watching this every single day. I was getting this level of stimulation every single day. I want to go back to that because it felt good. I was telling myself that it was good. So why has this stopped? So our mind is wonderful and it will play all sorts of tricks on us to try and get us to think we need to do it. Even things like, and this is in my experience, the extreme of where the trick gets to, I can't get hard for sex, I can only get hard if I watch porn, so therefore I must go back to watching porn. So that's one thing. And then also some guys experience, and I did as well, I think it's normal, on that 90-day break, something that's called a flat line, which is basically things feel non-existent down there. And it causes a bit of a concern of like, fuck, have I just made myself asexual, or have I got rid of the horniness that I had? And this is all part of the mind doing its thing to try and get our attention of being like, hey, we were doing this thing and I'm going to keep on stepping up the alert systems unless you go back to this. So this is all normal, but it's difficult. So I'm going to share with you one tool that helped me through this 90 days. This was not the only tool, so I just want to caveat here. We haven't got time on this video to go through every single tool, but I'm going to share with you the one that was the most effective for me. And then if you just resonate with what I'm saying, after sharing this, I'm also going to leave the details of what to do next to be able to start getting some of these other tools as well to help more on this journey, so that you can just ultimately get this sorted and start having the kind of sex and connection with your partner or date that you deserve to have and that you want. So this tool comes from the 12 Steps program, which you may be familiar with or you may not have heard before. And whether you agree with 12 Steps program or not, put that aside for a second, because this is one of the tools from there that is highly effective. And I use this not just for my journey of porn and masturbation, I also use it for sugar, for example, or alcohol when I was cutting those things out of my life. So it's called Just for Today, and you've probably guessed it already what that means. But this is so effective on the days where I feel the urge, the tendency to go and look at something, to go and scroll, to go and watch porn. It is saying to myself, just for today, I won't do that. Okay, it's not making it about the 90 days, it's not making it about 30 days, 60 days, because when we do that, we are creating this huge pressure build up in our mind that is unnecessary when we're taking on enough of a challenge as it is. So it's saying to myself, on the days that the urges are stronger, and there are days that will be stronger and days where it won't be as strong. On those days where it feels like I just really need to get my phone and watch some stuff, just for today, I commit to myself to not watch porn or to not jerk off to porn. And that's it. So I really encourage you to try this out. It seems so simple, seems like such a simple tool, but I can't underestimate the effectiveness of this tool. It's often the stuff that is so simple and seems so cliche that we overlook. Sometimes it seems too simple, but this is often the stuff that really works. So if you are about to embark on this journey, or even if you want to start off with, let's say, 1 week of committing to 1 week of not watching porn, try this tool. On the days where the urges feel stronger, just saying to yourself, okay, just for today, not talking about tomorrow, not talking about Saturday, Sunday, just for today, I commit to myself that I won't watch porn, and see how that goes. So that's the first tool. Now, as I mentioned, what I'm going to run through now is, if you are ready to move beyond just that first tool and get your hands on more tools that will help you with this, then the first step is to take what I call the performance anxiety assessment. Okay, this is 10 yes or no questions. This will take you under 2 minutes to complete, that I've put together, so that you can first of all get your score to see how much is this impacting my life today. Okay, it's important for us to understand as a first step, how much is this actually impacting my life and in what areas, so that then I can share with you the appropriate tools for where you're at in this journey. So to be able to answer those 10 questions, it's free. I've put in the comments, you'll see below a link to the performance anxiety assessment. So the first step is to go to the comment section now and click on that link. That will take you straight to the page where there's a video and I explain how the questions work, what to do, and then the third step is to answer those questions. All right, so first click on the link in the comments below now. Second step, that will take you to the page where you can watch the video to see how it works. Third step is then answer those 10 yes or no questions. After that, I will then send you your score so that you can see exactly where you're at, plus a free tool so that you can start getting this sorted and move beyond just the first tool that I've shared with you today. So if you're ready for that, it's time to go and do this. To head below now and click on that link, and you will know this is working when you're answering the questions. You will just feel like this resonates with where I'm at. This resonates with my experience right now. So I will see you there.